Strapping, feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hat pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lanes. 4D on my skin, when I lose, when I win, I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 4D, 4D, 4D. It's different. Yeah, that's winning. Stamped on the wheel like a crest. I don't just play, I live it. Every stitch says get it. From the couch to the checkered, I'm the storm when I wear it. 4D in my veins. Different. It's different. Yeah. 4D racewear. Let them feel you drive. Strapping, feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hat pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing.
Hello everyone and welcome to the P1 Broadcasting Network. It's Murph. It's Andrew Wood. It's the late night on Thursday night, and you know what that means. 125 laps from the Kansas Speedway. Area 51 action. And we've got a dandy for you. 20 IndyCars signed in for this one. It is round 7 of the oldest continuously run IndyCar series in iRacing. And that brings us to the Kansas Speedway Oval, the track constructed just outside of Kansas City, Kansas, not in Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas. It is home to more than just a racetrack. There is a casino here, and you can see that off of turn 2. There is an MLS soccer stadium as part of this site as well, and coming soon, there will be a Kansas City Chiefs football stadium out here as well. Kansas Speedway, originally 75,000 seats. It's down to 48,000 now. They've removed quite a few. The track has not changed from its original 1.5 mile configuration. It has also not been repaved. And what that means is that the surface is bumpy. It wears out the tires as a result of the harsh Midwestern winters that it sees. And you're going to see 1.5 mile oval racing quite a bit unlike you are used to seeing. This can be packy, but it's also going to wear the tires. The Indy cars have been coming here since their inception, since the track's inception. It was opened in 2001. The Indy cars have been coming here since it opened. The original race, known as the Hollywood Casino 400, later on known as the Roadrunner Turbo Indy 300. The track record here, Thomas Scheckter, 24.8742 seconds. That was set back in the 2002 Ameristar Casino Indy 200. We've got qualifying underway, and we're going to jump on board Craig Forsyth as we bring in Andrew Wood. Andrew, you out there? You hear me?
I hear you, Murph.
So we're gonna have a look at Craig here. just from the top of his roll bar. He's doing the thing, right? He's going real slow on lap 1, just bringing it up to speed, coming down to get lap 2 to start his lap here.
You know, one of those things that you have to worry about in the qualifying on a sunsetting track that we see here in Kansas is that some drivers may opt to actually wait until the end of the qualifying session to put the laps in, because as the sun sets, the track starts to cool, and you'll feel like you may get an extra couple of tenths, a couple hundredths, couple tenths of your lap time there. So it's interesting to see that some of these drivers are electing to go out a little bit on the earlier side. We have 25 seconds as we sit right now left to qualifying. So yeah, there's a few drivers that are going out there a little bit later. And as the sun sets, the track cools, and you could just get that extra little bit of lap time. But all that matters is that when the race starts, the track will continue to get cooler and cooler from there, and that's when we'll see the faster lap times. So I do find it interesting to see the different tactics that these drivers take on during the race.
It is indeed. There you see that weather. 86 degrees in the air, 88 degrees on the track. The sun is going down, and it is going to continue to cool off, and we are in for a dandy of a race. We also have a grid on the pole with a lap of 219.4358 miles an hour. It is Kyle Klindworth, and there he is. On the outside of the front row, Shane Coker, 218.920. What a qualifying run for Shane Coker. Matt Wagner will start third. Craig Forsyth will be to his outside in the 4th spot. Nicholas Stockner is going to go from 5th. Chris Stouffer will start next to him in 6th. It's going to be Sam Cosner and Gary Lovern, a pair of Votive Racing League machines, 7th and 8th. Jeff Hysong and Ryan Kelly, they're going to go from 9th and 10th. In 11th, Larry Yingling. Wayne Campbell is going to start 12th. AJ Hobson, 13th. Hobson is the only dual winner thus far in Area 51, Andrew, and so we look to see how AJ Hobson's going to fare tonight. He's in the 904. Eric Peterson, the Dark Horse King, he'll go alongside at 14th. That fills out row 7. Row number 8, Bill Burrell, Brian Greenlee. Row number 9, Mason Mitchum, Joseph Morales. From Mitchum on back, no qualifying speed. Charles T, Kurt Rose, 19th and 20th, and James Molyneux will be shotgun on the field, Andrew. 21st and final starter here at Kansas.
You know, we were watching Nashville last week, and I noticed that was another race that Ryan Kelly was one of our top qualifiers. We're seeing Ryan Kelly sitting in 10th spot right now, and I'm curious to see how he manages this race, because he is one to usually hang back and save the tire life and then suddenly pounce later on in the stint. Now we're all of a sudden mid-pack, and we don't usually see Ryan Kelly mid-pack. He usually qualifies up front, so this is definitely a mixed-up grid from what we see, and I'm interested to see which drivers want to make their way to the front and capitalize on their good qualifying sessions, and which drivers just kind of want to hang back and save a little bit of the fuel. We're going to be watching Chris Stouffer for sure. He's our 1.5 mile oval kind of guy where he rides the wall and doesn't really save the fuel in the tires so much, and he picks up a lot of spots that way. So that's a very, very exciting storyline that we're going to see tonight. Shane Coker up front as well. He is definitely someone who doesn't qualify so well but makes up the spots in the race, and we're going to be really, really interested to see what Shane Coker does during this race. So a lot of different mixed up grid situations from what we're seeing here normally in Area 51. So I'm excited to see where we go from here. The sun's going to set soon, and we're going to have a darker track as the race goes on.
We are indeed. One of the things I'm going to be keeping tabs on, Area 51 does run to a 75% fuel tank, Andrew, as you know, and that can produce some interesting strategy. Normally, you'd get about 50 to 55 laps on a tank full here. Not so in Area 51. The lighter tank, they're going to have to stretch to make this in 2 stops if it stays green. And so that's going to be something to watch for all of these drivers. Klindworth has the field under his command. Coker to his outside. Wagner and Forsyth in row number 2. They're going to come out of turns 3 and 4 way behind the pace car, as has become the custom here in Area 51. Kyle Clinworth leads him off at turn number 4. Barney's got the green flag in hand.
Green flag, green flag.
And away we go.
Sun glare. You can see that sun glare coming off turn 4. It's a really interesting way to start the race. And so I think that the cars are going much single file through turn 1 and 2. Everyone had a really clean start, which is always nice to see. Some of the cars that didn't have the best start towards the back of the field, they will work their way up towards the pack for sure. So this is going to be one of those situations where once the cars get very, very close, the outside line might work a little bit better. So if you don't get to the outside line, you may suffer a little bit as the race goes on. As we see, we're throw a blanket under the top 12 right now, Murph.
Yeah, they're 2x2 all the way back to about the 10th spot. Shane Coker shoots out into the lead, and he will command the point from Matt Wagner. Nicholas Stockner gets through. Clinworth on the high side appears to maybe have already backed it down to save the tires, save the fuel. Paula Scory, that's Clindy's mom checking in. It appears to be 2 schools of thought already. Clinworth falling toward the back. He's going to save his stuff. Coker, Stockner, Wagner, they're not saving anything. Those guys are going for it up front, going hard, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of watching the back of these cars as they enter turn 3 and 4. That sun is definitely having a play here. It's hope you enter the corner just fine enough for that you can keep that line all the way around the corner, and it actually gets to a point where you can see briefly as you enter turn 3. That's only going to be temporary as the sun sets behind the stands there. But, yeah, it looks like everyone right now is opting for the bottom line, which is very interesting because all the dirty air is down there. So I think that's actually working for now, but eventually cars are going to migrate up a little bit higher. And as long as most of the grip is staying on the bottom, that's where you're going to see a lot of the cars racing as we sit here right now.
Most certainly. So a guy that we would expect to be up on that high line is running in the 4th spot. There's Christopher in the 40 Racewear machine. He sits in 4th, immediately behind Matt Wagner and in front of Gary Lovern. Also on the high side, a little bit further back, you've got Eric Peterson. He's going to rally to the top. He's got A.J. Hobson, dual winner, in tow, and they're making time on that high side, Andrew. You see Peterson cut down in front of Clinworth. Cosner is going to stay up there, Hobson's going to stay up there, and they seem to be cycling themselves to the front. Clindy, after the front row start, he's already back to 9th.
We're actually seeing this bottom line really working a lot for these drivers right now. Eric Peterson actually is our biggest climber. He's up to P7 crossing the line. AJ Hobson's making a move on him now, but that's up 6, maybe 7 spots. And that's really, really a good sign to see from some of these mid-pack drivers that just choose correctly to put themselves on a line that's more favorable to them to pick up a few spots along the way. So keep a watch on Eric Peterson. It looks like he has something going on that hot rod underneath him.
Yeah, there you go. Peterson up 7, Hobson up 5, and Hobson looking to the outside of Ryan Kelly. Kelly himself is up 4 spots. He went from 10th to 6th. So we've got some comers. We've got some goers early on, and that's what you want to see. This could be a flat-out race. It could be a pack race. It could be a very tactical race. One of the things I'm noticing, though, about Hobson, as he runs, everybody up front, single file, Coker leading the train. One of the things I'm noticing about Hobson, he's up at the top, and Andrew, he's got clean air up there. He does not have the benefit. He does not have the negative of running in the wake of the car in front. Kansas, even though it's a 1.5 mile track, Andrew, you know this, it can wear your tires out in a hurry. By being up there and everybody else being single file on the bottom, A.J. Hobson's not just going faster. He gets by Kelly, he moves up to Gary Lovern. He's not just making passes. He might be saving his tires too.
You know, one of those things that we were talking about at Nashville last week is that a lot of the drivers are trying to get to the top of the racetrack to make the passes on the outside. This is a whole different scenario here where every single car is just hugging that white line. And once you pile a whole bunch of cars on that white line, you can't make any progress, right? Because the car ahead of you is obviously on the white line ahead of you. So A.J. Hobson's doing something that is a lot more difficult, which is trying to run the top side of the track to pass cars that are on the bottom. Of course, you're going to pass cars when everyone's checking up a little bit in the corners, but you're taking the longer way around the track at the end of the day. So I think it's actually working for AJ Hobson, but you're right. It's going to wear out those right side tires a lot more than you would expect. We have a car that touched the wall there. I think that
It's Charles
might
Teed.
have been Charles Teed, yeah.
It's Teed.
So, yeah, it's just going to be a matter of trying to find the clean air at this point, because now it seems like a lot more cars have joined that top line there, and you're going to make those passes even though you're going around the longer side of the track just by having no cars up there that are interrupting your momentum.
You know, it's pros and cons, right? Everything in life is a compromise, a trade-off, and for A.J. Hobson, he's going faster up there. He's making passes. He has moved, as of now, A.J. Hobson is up 10 spots. But you're right. It burns the right front up a little bit more for A.J. Hobson. The other thing it does is it burns more fuel. So by doing that, Hobson is saying, look, I don't think this thing is going to go green all the way. I think we're going to have a yellow at some point here. And when we get that yellow, everybody's going to pit, of course, and the fuel strategies will reset. I've gained a whole bunch of track position. Now you see Hobson file down to the bottom. Up to the top side goes Ryan Kelly. He drives it around Matt Wagner. Shane Coker continues to lead out front from Nicholas Stockner. And that's not the first time we've seen Coker lead in Area 51, Andrew. But it's darn good to see. Shane Coker's really been working on his racecraft a lot. He's been taking a lot of coaching from a lot of different members of the community, and it's good to see him out front in one of these, Andrew.
Yeah, so that's great to see Shane Coker out front. So the high line is definitely the way to go. We were talking about Eric Peterson before. Now the biggest climber of the race is James Molyneux. He's up 14 spots starting in P20. He's up to P6 right now. So I think he managed to just watch what AJ Hobson and Charles Teed and some of the other drivers were doing and saying, hey, I can pass cars if I go on the high side also. So here is James Molyneux. He had a little bit of a rough start to the season, a couple of incidents that were a little questionable, and he's apologized to all those drivers that were affected and everything like that. But he's showing that he really has what it takes up here. He's holding his line on the top side, making some progress, and if the clean air is there, why not go for it? So, I think that a lot of these drivers on the inside line are doing a fuel save right now. Obviously, the checking up is allowing the drivers to lift a little bit more into the entry and the mid part of the corner. Lord knows what we'll see in about 10, 15 laps here, but this is a really good start for these drivers on the inside to perhaps make this a two-stop.
It is, and, you know, to be fair, I can tell you who's not saving fuel. Shane Coker, Nicholas Stockner, Jeff Heisong. They are out front. They are driving away. A.J. Hobson not saving any fuel either. He's driving to the high side of Matt Wagner. He will make that pass. Not quite able to make it stick, but he was almost clear. He should be able to get that job done coming off of turn number 2. I've always said, though, Andrew, that this type of racing may be the most dangerous type of racing that we do in iRacing, in IndyCars. When you are in a fuel-saving conga line, that's almost tougher to do that than it is to run flat out and try to pass people that way.
You know, it definitely does get very difficult, especially if you're on that inside line. Like I was mentioning before, everyone's kind of checking up. If someone does it too early or in a spot where that's a little bit more uncomfortable, it could get very dangerous. But I think at this point, everybody has a mission. So we were mentioning the Eric Peterson, James Molyneux situation where they want to get to the front, so they're going to take the outside line. They're not going to push too hard to try and sift back into traffic again. But at the same time, some of the drivers that are in this pack here, actually, now that they've raced each other for 20-plus laps, they know exactly where their lifting points are going to be. So it's going to be a little bit easier to sort of fit into a spot where you don't have to worry so much about pushing too much. And if you say, okay, if I lift a little earlier this lap because I predict the person ahead of me is going to do it a little bit earlier also, it seems to be working right now. That could flip on a dime, and you could be in a situation where cars pile in on top of each other. But just from what I'm watching right now, everybody seems to have a mission, and everyone is racing with people around them that are on the same exact mission as them. They're comfortable to lift and save the fuel and tires that they need. And you have some cars that drift on the high side and say, okay, maybe I'll pass you this lap. I want to see if I can just hang in my one or two positions away from where I am. So I think that's the goal for this first stint. Let's see what happens going on in the race here.
100% Andrew. Looking at the dark horse teammates, that's Teed. Teed goes all the way to the bottom. He got a little bit loose. Brian Greenlee goes past, as does Ryan Kelly. Kyle Clinworth. Charles Teed had himself a moment there coming off of turn number 4, and it's going to cost him 4 spots from behind teammate Eric Peterson. Peterson is now 9th. He's on the back of James Molyneux. You've got Gary Lovern involved there. They're following the 40 racewear car of Chris Stouffer. He's looking at the back of A.J. Hobson. Let's jump on board with James Molyneux, and he seems to be the one that's out here having the most fun. He's on the high side. He's got Stouffer right in front of him. There he goes around Stouffer, and Molyneux has decided, look, I'm tired of riding. I'm going to go around the top. I'm going to put it in fuel map 1. Let's go. And Molyneux has now made it up to the 6th spot. He's right behind Hobson, and he's up there on entry, really where people named Gant, Larson, and Petty like to tread, Andrew.
It's definitely a matter of trying to figure out which line you want to take. So you could definitely tell there's a lot of fuel saving going on throughout this pack. I'm actually watching from Charles Teed's point of view from the back, just watching the pack up ahead and everything like that. And you can see there's a lot of shifting and sifting and trying to fit your car into a spot going on. So I think we're getting close to that first pit stop right now. I think if we make it to the 42 laps, then it's definitely a 2-stop race. But yeah, Shane Coker is going to be the first one that we're going to watch on this fuel rotation here. But as what you were mentioning before, the cars that go high and say, okay, I'll stay high for a couple laps and then sift back in the line again. Maybe another car or two goes by them. It's just kind of like a circular tornado, if you will, of cars that are passing each other, falling back, passing each other, falling back. And as long as you have a gist of what the general motion is of the cars around you, that actually is the best method to do a group fuel save of sorts. So we're about 14 laps away from making it on 2 stops if we can go from here, Murph.
We are indeed. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Paula wants to know about her boy. Is he being cagey and biding his time? I don't think he's being cagey. I think he's running that car to a fuel number. He's going to try to extend this first stint as long as possible. Theoretically, 42, and 41 will get you home. But when I'm in this situation, and Andrew, feel free to chime in. When I'm in this situation, I want to try to not
spin.
Well, not spin and not take flight, right? But also I want to try to get more laps than just the number. I want to get, if I'm in this race, I want to get to 44 or 45. Because if it's, 45 is max save, full burn might be 37, and I want to be able to put the hammer down and go as hard as possible as soon as I can, and the only way to do that is to bank laps early, Andrew.
You're on the opposite kind of mindset as me, Murph. If it were me, I just don't want to lose too many spots. So if I want to fuel save and I start losing 5-6 spots, just staying low or staying high or not doing something right, I feel like I panic a little bit and need to get those spots back immediately. So it's definitely, as you say, you have your strategy. As for me, I'm like, okay, well, I dropped from 4th to 12th. That's a problem. I got to get those spots back as soon as I can, and then I burn a little too much fuel. So it's definitely a matter of just sitting in the pack and being safe, first of all. But you also want to do what feels most comfortable for you. If you feel like you're a Shane Coker and can only run out front and don't want to be in the pack and put your other priorities at risk, that's what you go for. So Shane Coker is coming in right now.
Yeah, already one question answered. Shane Coker is going to hit pit lane. 33 laps was all that the full juice fuel would do for Shane Coker, and that's an extra pit stop for him. He's committed now to running a 3-stop race. Everybody else trying to get as much out of the Shell fuel as they can, and it's making for some interesting racing around the course. Nicholas Stockner has now assumed the lead. Matt Wagner is second, and he's got a challenge from Jeff Heisong to his high side. Now, there's two guys that have raced together a lot, Andrew.
Yeah, and this is the part of the race that could get dicey because everyone, as you see, the top 15 are all within 2 seconds of each other. So Shane Coker is the first one to bite. But when we get to lap, let's say 38, 39, there's going to be several cars pitting, and everybody's going to be braking at different points. So there's a difference between racing in the pack and also trying to brake for the pits and not miss the pits, and also not hit the cars ahead of you that are trying to pit at the same time. So it could get very, very dicey in about 5 laps here. And Shane Coker is not one to hope for any of that at all because he's pit early and has now fallen a lap down. So if there's any caution at all, that's pretty much him starting at the back of the pack if he gets a wave around.
It is indeed. And Coker, what he wants to see is he wants to see this play out, and he wants to see a caution before he has to make that extra pit stop so that he can come down pit lane theoretically as the leader. His last lap, 25.655. He's 0.4 of a second quicker than leader Nicholas Stockner that last time through. And so there is validity to that. He may be able to make up time. Now, he's not going to be able to make up a lap and a half, but if he gets the right caution at the right time, Shane Coker could be in the catbird seat. Do want to thank everybody for joining in. You're watching the Area 51 race from Kansas, round 7 of the Area 51 IndyCar Series, presented by 40 Racewear. If you haven't already done it, make sure you hit the like button on the video, ring the bell, subscribe to P1 so that you can be notified of all future iRacing action right here on the channel. James Molyneux has gone to the outside of Matt Wagner, and let's move James Molyneux up to third. He's looking for more. He wants second off of Jeff Heisong.
We got some more pitters coming in now. Charles T will be pitting this lap. Yeah, he's coming in right now, and this is going to be the start, Murph. We're going to start seeing some more drivers all trying to pit together. We saw Shane Coker. It can't be more than 5 laps after that. The rest of these drivers are coming in. I think James Molyneux is calling his pit, so let's see if these drivers start filing their way into pit lane and if they do it safely.
Yeah, there goes James Molyneux. He's dropped into the pit lane. We'll stay with the front of the field. Stockner, Heisong, Wagner, Hobson, Greenlee are your top 5 here at Kansas in the Area 51 IndyCar Series. And that lap 42 mark, that magical mark to make it in 2 stops, is now approaching. And let's see.
Keep an eye. This is a lap. A lot of drivers are coming in. I know Stockner, Jeff Heisong, and Peterson are coming in for sure.
There we go. A whole bunch of cars come to the pit lane. Stockner, Hobson, Heisong, and Peterson, as you say. Molyneux is leaving the pit lane. Well, he may not be leaving the pit lane. James Molyneux still sits on pit lane. He must have some damage. He's been in his pit box for 30 seconds. That hands the lead over to Matt Wagner. Wags is going to make it to exactly 42 laps complete. He'll start lap 43. And these are the cars you want to watch. Now, how long are they going to stay out? Wagner and Stouffer lead it, and they've got about half a second in hand over Gary Lover and Mason Mitchum. Mitchum, for what it's worth, he started shotgun on this field. Mason Mitchum, he's done that in many of the races that we've called, Andrew. He's already up to the 3rd spot as we see Gary Lovern pull in. So there's Mitchum. He'll assume the lead of that second pack with Wayne Campbell, Kyle Clinworth, Craig Forsyth, and Sam Cosner. Ryan Kelly is a part of that group. Larry Yingling is a little bit further back.
This is the big lap right here. Here, Murph. We're all pitting from the lead here, and we've made it to lap 44. This is an easy 2-stopper from here. So let's see if all these drivers make it in.
Everybody does. One car goes wide. We've got some smoke and brakes. That was, I believe,
I think it was Campbell.
It was Wayne
Campbell. He just made it in.
It was Wayne Campbell, and let's show you what this looks like, fans at home. Here's Wayne Campbell trying to get to the pit lane, and really he's pacing off the car in front, but Mitchum blows the pit entry. Campbell was following him. He slams on his brakes. He gets to the inside of that commitment cone, so no penalty for Wayne Campbell. But that's heart attack inducing, isn't it, Andrew?
Definitely. Yeah. You try your best to stop, but you also know everyone else around you is stopping at the same time. So it is very difficult to try and manage that. But back out on track, I noticed Shane Coker has definitely managed to get the advantage on quite a few guys here. Like he's leading the pack of, I believe that's Hobson, Stockner, and Gary Lovern. So he's coming out of the pits a lot quicker than some of the guys that are around him. So I don't think we're going to have this big pack that we saw in the first stint. It's going to be all based on how good the pit stop was. You're right, James. Was it Molyneux?
Mitchum got a penalty.
Mitchum I was looking at. I thought I was looking at Molyneux, but Mitchum got a penalty. But I think we're all done with our first round of pit stops now. Coker has assumed the lead, and that early pit stop where he was running 0.4 of a second faster than everyone has managed to get him out front. Now he's going to be on a whole different pit strategy, but we do notice that the top 10 are within sort of a draft range, but after you get outside the top 10, it starts to fade out from there.
Yeah, so the big winner here, Shane Coker comes back out in the lead. The big winners here have to be Matt Wagner and Chris Stouffer. They came in at lap 4. They came in having completed 42 laps, and they are still in the lead draft, which is 10 cars. Everybody back to, 9 cars rather. Everybody back to Chris Stouffer is in this lead group. Ryan Kelly has become separated from that lead group. He is 10th. He's got Mason Mitchum with him. Mitchum is a lap down. Larry Yingling is there as well. Clindy has hooked onto the back of them. They are out of the range of the draft, or were temporarily. They're starting to catch back in. They're starting to catch back up to that draft, but they got to use more gas to get there. Andrew?
That's definitely one of those things you have to think about. But at the same time, a lot of these drivers went past 42 laps on the stint, so they're able to extend that fuel strategy. So yeah, you have to use a little bit of gas to get up to the pack, but once you get up there, then that's when you start the conserving situation. So I think that's something to consider. Unfortunately, Murph, I noticed that Craig Forsyth has seemed to have another mechanical issue. He's out of the race right now.
Yeah, Craig Forsyth has disconnected from the server. He'd been having problems with his setup, wheel and pedals and things of that nature. And just like in real life, we do get failures in the sim world. People watching at home may think, video game, it's guys on controllers. Most of the competitors here are gonna have sim racing rigs. I know I have one. I know you have one, Andrew, and they're pretty much all one of one. There are no two alike. You can buy certain things from vendors, but even the stuff that you can get from a vendor, it's all small batch stuff. It's not like there are thousands of them, and so, things go wrong, things break, things malfunction, and Craig Forsyth has been going through that of recent, and he has disconnected from the server. Shane Coker leads it. A.J. Hobson is second. Stockner, Lovern, and Wagner are your top 5. That second group, led by Ryan Kelly, has made it to the front. Of all the guys that were in that group, I think Clindy might be the best off. They all stopped after lap 42, but Clintworth went 45 laps. So he's going to be the one that's going to have the most fuel at the end. You see Mason Mitchum, he's trying to get his lap back the hard way, and he wants to do that so that he can put himself 1 lap down. He's currently 2. Andrew, Mason Mitchum wants to get up at the front of this thing for 2 reasons. 1, he wants his lap back, but 2, he wants to get up there and pull his boss along. That's Shane Coker, the leader of that Votive Racing League team. He wants to get up there and pull his boss along so that Shane can save some gas.
What's interesting here, Murph, is that what we were watching in previous races is that everyone starts on the low side and then eventually migrates up to the top. This entire race, the entire pack is sitting on the white line and doing the fuel save. That leaves such a big opportunity for drivers like Mason Mitchum that wants to try and get their lap back the hard way, as you put it. no one else is up on the high side. So once you're able to get up there and make the spots, once you get the spots back, then it's so easy to get your way back up to the front again. So you see up front now, it looks like they're mixing it up a little bit more. They're 2x2 and doing everything like that. But at the same time, everybody is staying on the low side. That just shows that it's a cool track. It could be a pack race if need be, but if the big thing that everyone is thinking about right now is the fuel save, especially because they got close to the 42 laps, but they need to do 42 laps again to ensure the fact that they can go to the end of the race. This could mean that the end of the race is going to be a little bit more exciting with a little bit more 2x2 racing than we'd expect as long as they stay green this whole way.
Yeah, it's really started to cool off both in the atmosphere and on the track, down to 86 degrees in the air, 90 on the track. Wind is northeast at 7-8 miles an hour, and that's not going to really bother these cars all that much. Mason Mitchum has gotten to the front of this field, but crucially, he wasn't able to slot in front of Shane Coker. And so Coker unable to save fuel off of Mitchum, and you would think that they would try to orchestrate that a little bit better, Andrew.
Yes, absolutely. You think that it's like, okay, Mason's in trouble. Let's make sure that he gets in as in line as quickly as he can.
Coker coming back to pit lane.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I think that Coker was within 2 or 3 laps of pitting just because of his early pit stop. So he is definitely on a 3-stop strategy right now. There's no chance of him making it a 2-stop situation. But from here, I think we're going to go to about lap 75 for the earliest drivers to pit. But everybody's going to probably go above 83, 84 to ensure the fact that they saved enough fuel to go 2 stops.
They will. Now, A.J. Hobson is going to reassume command. I was just about to say, if you're one of these drivers that is in this field, and they've got Bill Burrell out there now, so they're going to be able to save off of Bill Burrell. But one of the things that I kind of wanted to point out is you do want to kind of recognize the situation as we look from the P1 helicopter. You do want to kind of recognize the situation. If I've got a lap car out there, Andrew, you want to use them. I mean, there's Bill Burrell. You need to recognize the situation. It doesn't necessarily do you any good to put Bill Burrell 2 laps down here, but if you're Hobson, that's a gift, brother. You want to use him to save as much fuel as you can.
You are absolutely onto something there, Murph. I totally agree with you. It's okay. Like, you're catching them very fast because you're in a big streamlined lead pack here where everybody's kind of pushing everyone. So Bill is probably panicking right now, seeing a bunch of cars just randomly appear in his mirror. But, okay, so it looks like Bill's kind of pulling over a little bit. He's probably going to let the whole field by just on the top side there. But, yeah, it's one of those things that if you're a lapped car, and we've all been there where we've had a race where we're just kind of running by ourselves and the whole field is going so fast that they just fly by you. But if you're able to be crafty enough, you can say, okay, I can help you save the fuel as long as I join the pack in such a way that's helpful for everyone. So I just think it's too much of a match at this point. Everybody's staying in a single file line on the bottom right now. No one's really trying to make those big moves up top. So Bill probably felt very much like, okay, everyone's flying right now. I'm just going to get out of the way and hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean, if that's me up there, I'm getting on a radio to AJ Hobson and I'm saying, hey AJ, you mind just letting me pull you guys around? I'll let you save some fuel and I don't lose another lap. Burrell obviously felt like he should let the field by, and that's his call, clearly. Meanwhile, Hobson, he's 24 laps down on his current run. We're going to pull the current since last pit numbers up, so the fans at home can see him. We would expect Hobson, Stockner, and Peterson due in. They last stopped at 42. I would expect them right on the nose at 84. Lovren would be due in a lap after that. Same for Greenlee. And then 2 or 3 laps later for Wagner and so forth. Cosner and Clinworth would be the last to pit here. And that's going to allow them to go absolutely full bore at the end of this race.
One thing I'm concerned about with AJ Hobson is that he had Shane Coker to save fuel off of in the last stint. Now Hobson is the one that's the what do you call it?
The rabbit?
Peloton, is that what it is in a bike race? The person that's leading the pack in the bike race. That's what AJ Hobson is right now. Someone in the chat, please help me out here. I think Peloton is the word.
Well, he's leading the peloton. The guy that's out front, you would call the rabbit.
Thank you. Right. There's some nomenclature I tried to wrap in there that I just failed miserably at. But anyway, Hobson has to run the best fuel map right now because he is burning the most fuel, foot flat to the ground. He is the one that is burning the most. So I don't know if Hobson's going to make another 42 laps. Everybody else behind him is happy that he's there to burn the fuel for them, and they'll just sit there in the draft. But I'll be interested to see what lap AJ Hobson pits on because I think he will be the next one to go. He doesn't seem to be interested in letting anyone say, hey, come take the high side and pass me as well. So that's also an interesting dynamic in this part of the race.
I will say this, though, Andrew. The pace has really slowed up. At last lap for Hobson, 25.895. We've seen Coker able to run 25.6s out front by himself, and that's where Coker is. And here's Shane. He's got Charlie Teed with him, and they seem to be doing a little bit of the swapsies. You see them haul off into turn number one. They're running 20. They're running 20, 25.6, 25.7. Hobson and this crew, they're a couple of tenths off of that, and that tells me that that the leaders here, they're running. Hobson may be leading the race, but he is not full rich. He's still running to a fueled number, Andrew.
I just still think it won't be enough unless you have help. Everybody else in this field has help from cars ahead of them, so Hobson is going to be burning more fuel whether he likes it or not. It's just a matter of if he can make it to lap 84 to ensure that he's on a two-stop strategy. We're going to wait and see. All we know is that nobody's pitting in the next 14 laps.
No, nobody's.
If humanly possible. So that is making it a little bit less exciting to watch. As we see, we're just in one big caboose here, or one big train car line. But at the same time, everybody's trying to race to win, and I do think that the last stint of this race is going to get a lot more exciting. So bear with us during this main maintenance stage of the race, and we'll see what happens after the next pit stop. And the next pit stop could be even more fireworks, so we'll see what happens.
We saw fireworks in that first cycle. Mason Mitchum got a speeding ticket coming to pit lane, as did James Molyneux. They are now laps down. Molyneux 1 lap down. Bill Burrell has started to come back and surge back forward. He works to the outside of Sam Cosner, and Burrell's 1 lap down. Look, I mean, he's out there saying, look, I still got a shot at this. If I can get back up there and get in front of the leader, I'm back on the tail end of the lead lap, and if caution flies, I'm right back in the thick of this thing. So Bill Burrell's going to run up there and see if he can't get his lap back. Meanwhile, everything pretty much is status quo throughout the field. A.J. Hobson is your leader. Nicholas Stockner runs along in second. Gary Lovern is third, and what a great run for Gary. Eric Peterson is fourth, and Brian Greenlee will round out your top five. Matty Wagner is sixth. There he is in front of Jeff Heisong in seventh. Christopher is eighth. Sam Cosner ninth, and you see Bill Burrell working his outside, and Kyle Clinworth is 10th. You've got Ryan Kelly behind Clindy in 11th. Larry Yingling is 12th. Kurt Rose 13th. There's Kurt. Joseph Morales, he's still in the lead draft, a chip in a chair, as they say. Andrew, he is 14th, 1 lap down. Shane Coker on the 3-stop strategy. There he is. He's all by his lonesome one more time. Wayne Campbell has help in the form of James Molyneux. They are also a lap down. Charles Teed is coming back out of the pit lane. He has just made a stop. Teed is 18th. He is 1 lap down. Bill Burrell, 2 laps down now, is 19th. Mason Mitchum, 3 laps in arrears, is 20th. There's Mace, and Craig Forsyth has whatever issue he had fixed. Shotgun on the field, 6 laps down. Craig Forsyth, not a good night for the Canadian. He's here. He's going to try to see. He's going to try to see if he can't finish it out. You are watching Area 51 on P1. Area 51 After Dark, if you will. A.J. Hobson, the only multi-winner of the season, is your leader, and he's got a friend in front of him. Charles Teed is there to pick up, is there to help Hobson draft, and that is a team car, Andrew.
Hobson is pitting this lap, so he will be the first one to blink. 78, not enough to make it a two-stopper, so he's going to be at a heavy fuel save mode if he wants to make it on two stops for the next one.
Yeah, he's coming.
So Hobson's blinked. Let's see who's next.
Yeah, you see him hit pit road. He made it. He will have made it to lap 80 when he crosses the line, 80 complete. He's going to have to do 45 on his final run. A.J. Hobson is going to need a yellow. We'll see who can benefit from Charles Teed being out there. Is it going to be Nathan Stockner? Now, Stockner's been out 39 laps. Is he going to hit pit road this time? He will not. Remember, Stockner has been in the draft of A.J. Hobson for most of this race, Andrew.
We got more cars that are jumping in. I believe Eric Peterson, Greenlee, Wayne Campbell are all going to be coming in. All drivers that were towards the back that weren't saving fuel. We got some more cars coming in. I think it's getting close there, Murph. We need
Whoa, Brian Greenlee. Brian Greenlee missed pit exit. He shot up the banking. He keeps everything going in the right direction, but Brian Greenlee nearly brought out a caution. He's trying to get to pit lane behind Eric Peterson. Watch this. You'll see Peterson come in, and Peterson was a little hot. And again, I think it's a case of target fixation, Andrew. Greenlee was just following Peterson, and he was too hot, locked him up. It shot him sideways, and we were very lucky that did not cause a yellow light.
I think that onboard says everything there, Murph. We have these very, very fast entering pit stops from turn 4. We went the entire field on the first pit stop without a single incident. And we're so lucky that everyone got in and out of the pits in such a way that just shows the caliber of drivers in this field. We're doing it all again right now. We're getting these drivers in for their second pit stop, and mistakes are going to happen. Everybody's human. Everybody's trying to figure out the fastest way to get in and out so they don't lose the draft. And here we sit with Brian Greenlee able to get back in on the next lap. So it's not like he ran out of fuel. He just wanted to come in at such a time that he could fill up and be good to go. We've had some more cars in the meantime come in. Gary Lovren still stays out there right now. He is 100% good to go for the rest of the race. I believe Gary's actually coming in this lap. We're going to see, I believe, Stouffer maybe as well, or he might go one more.
Yeah, these guys have turned it up at the front of the field, too. 25-4 the last time through for Gary Lovren. He hits pit lane. Matt Wagner is going to assume the lead. Wags last stop 42 laps ago, and so he is one of the longer runners. You've got Chris Stouffer in attendance behind him, and then Klindworth went one lap further, as did Sam Cosner. So these cars are set to run here for a little bit longer should they like, and that's going to set them up to be able to go full tilt, full gas toward the end of this race. And Wags has got a friend in Charles Teed, and he is not going to go past Charlie for anything here, Andrew. He's going to stay right behind him if he can.
Yeah, we got Larry Yingling in, Ryan Kelly's in, Kurt Rhodes is in, Sam Cosner is coming in next lap. So we're filing in the rest of these drivers. They've gone 44 laps twice now, so that is enough to make it to the end. So, great job to these drivers doing another almost full pit stop cycle without a single incident, except what we saw with Brian Greenlee there that didn't really result in a caution. But we're doing a really, really great job looking out after each other on this track tonight, and it's really making a really, really great race for the green flag pit stops. Clendy is now in from the lead. He goes 45 laps on this stint. I think we're just about done with the pit stop rotation. We just have Wagner and Stouffer left.
We most certainly are. That's going to turn the lead back over to Shane Coker. Once everything cycles through, Coker is going to have the lead from Hobson. The big winner, and I'm going to circle this right now, the big winner right here is the car third in line. That's Gary Lovren. Lovren is attached to the back of the two rabbits. Coker and Lovern. We know that Lovern has the fuel to make it. We know that Coker and Hobson are going to need some help. Gary Lovern is in the catbird seat. Matt Wagner is not quite in the draft. He is closing in on it, though. He should be good to run absolutely full tilt to the end of this race. So too Christopher, so too Kyle Clinworth. Those three cars I'm going to be keeping an eye on because they're good to go full juice, Andrew Wood. And I'm going to look for those three to set the world on fire as they have now caught this lead pack.
Do you remember when I said a couple of stints ago that the last stint is going to be the one that we're going to watch very closely? We now have a situation where we have a mix of drivers that need to save a little bit, ones that don't have to save anything at all. These are going to be the drivers that are really going to go for it and pick up as many spots as they possibly can, possibly on that outside line where nobody else is running. If they can run in a richer fuel mix, they can get to the front of this field in a much quicker way than anything that we're expecting here. So you're right. We have AJ Hobson and Coker who are obviously going to have to look after their stuff here. I see a couple of cars getting a little squirrely on the front straight there, but yeah, this is the stint where we're going to see some exciting stuff. So thank you to everyone who's been patient watching, waiting for some action to happen. This is the stint where you're going to see something. Probably in the next 12 to 15 laps, it's going to get very exciting around here.
You are indeed. Shane Coker was the squirrely car you saw. He dove for the pit lane, got himself a speeding ticket for his troubles, and he is currently in the penalty box. Matt Wagner works to the outside of A.J. Hobson. Hobson just trying to hold out hope that he's going to get a yellow light. Gary Lovern works to the high side. Christopher is on the bottom. Clinworth and Cosner are in 5th and 6th. All of those cars are good to go to the end, with the exception of the yellow submarine, A.J. Hobson, who is on the bottom and leading this race. Wagner and Stouffer would like to pass him. And then you've got Gary Lovern involved there, too. Lovern would love to get his maiden win here in Area 51. That's a guy that's done a lot of improving. He's here. He's ready to rumble. Gary Lovern's got fuel to go to the end, too. Contact between Stouffer and Wagner. Stouffer moves Matty Wags out of the way. He'll climb to the high side of A.J. Hobson.
Wow, that was, I don't know how it didn't result in a lot more, but yeah, Hobson's just hoping for the best there, just that he obviously needs a little bit of help to make it to the end, but at this point, does he want to fall back into the pack and perhaps put himself in a riskier situation, or does he want to just run his race, maybe just get right before his pit stop when a caution would come out and everybody would come to the pits ahead of him? And it's such a risky strategy, but I can't think of anything else that Hobson will want to do right now. Does he want to stay back and save 6 laps and finish in 12th, or does he want to go for it and risk it and be somewhere where he feels a little bit more safe? But as you can see, as we look through this top 10, we are getting a little bit more exciting racing happening. So I only see it amping up from here.
Yeah, we formed up again. Rows 2 by 2. Clinworth looking to make it 3 wide. He gets kind of elbowed out by Wagner. Stouffer to get the draft. Now Stouffer will go to the high side of Hobson. If you're Hobson, here's the situationship, at least as I see it, Andrew. If you're A.J. Hobson, look, you just got to turn it up and go. You're not going to make it. I don't think he can make it, even if he falls back as we go 3 wide for the lead. I don't think that Hobson can make it, even if he winds up in a situation where he goes to the back and turns it all the way down. I just don't foresee that in the cards for him. And so, look, if you're A.J. Hobson, you just got to turn the fuel knob to position 1, stand in the gas, and hope you get a yellow flag.
Yeah, I think it's one of those you made your bed, you got to lie in it situations. So the best case scenario is like a lap or 2 before he is set to pit that he gets a caution where everybody's going to pit anyway. So you just got to roll the dice and hope for the best there. But yeah, he's the one being the rabbit right now out front, and everybody else is just kind of going on his terms. And I think that's kind of what A.J. Hobson really likes to do at the end of the day.
It is indeed, and look, he's safe up there. He knows he's racing around some old pros in Stouffer, Clinworth, Wagner, and Lovern. You got Sam Cosner up there. He's probably the unknown quantity. Kurt Rose has joined the fight. So he's a little bit of an unknown. But Hobson's been around long enough. He's been around long enough, and he's looking to see if he can't. He's looking to see if he can't hold on here and maybe get a lucky break. There is a lapped car a little bit further ahead of this group, and that's going to play into it as well. And something else to consider in these pack races, and we haven't done this really that much since the implementation, but the hybrid, it used to be you'd get on the bottom. That's James Molyneux up ahead. It used to be you could get on that white line and hold it, Andrew. The hybrid makes it so that you can jump around the outside, deploy, and you might be able to make a pass.
I'm taking notes here, Murph, because I haven't tried that yet, and I'm looking to see when I might be able to utilize that in my own racing. So thank you for that little intel there. But it makes sense, right? We have situations where drivers need to make a little bit of move, and you're really frustrated that there are cars on the bottom that just don't get out of the way, and no matter how much you try and wear over the right side tires, they just don't do anything. So that's a nice addition to the racing here on these ovals. You think you have the run on the inside, but in effect, you have to play around with different tools to make that happen.
You do, and we saw that happen in the Indy oval race earlier today. Brandon Trost nipped Robert Malechka at the line, basically pulled to the outside on the exit of turn 4, hit the hybrid button, and drove right around Malechka. He didn't drive right around him. He beat him to the line by about 6 inches, but that's all it takes just to get the trophy. So, you may see something like that here, where a guy pops out of the draft late, hits the deploy button, and drives around the leader, nips him to the outside.
Yeah, at this point, we're about 18 laps in the end, and A.J. Hobson's going to have to take his pit stop here at the end of the race. It's just a matter of when he's going to come in, and if he gets a caution timed at the right time, everybody's going to come in with him. So he's hoping that any lap now, there's some incident somewhere in the field that he's able to take advantage of. But I tell you what, Murph, we have a lot of these guys shifting around in different lanes and everything, and like I mentioned, this is the time of the race where we're going to see a lot of this action happening, but where do you place your car to really make these moves towards the end of the race? And you were talking about the hybrid and what it does to fixing out these lines. Where do you put yourself, and when do you deploy everything?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Stouffer, if I'm Chris Stouffer, I'm saving it. Same for Wagner, same for Clinworth, right? I'm going to save the hybrid. And it's almost kind of like a poker game, really. You're trying to think of, when to show the ace in the hole. That's the hybrid system. If you're Clinworth, I don't know that you're gonna make the pass on the high side, even out of lane 3, even with the hybrid deployment. But maybe he's measuring kind of when he needs to deploy it, to think, okay, well, if I deploy here, I can be ahead at the line on the last lap, because there's no universe in which Chris Stouffer is going to give up lane 1, and you're not going to get Hobson out of there until he has to pit, which I would anticipate is going to happen in the next 5 to 7 laps. Whoa, we got a car hard in the wall. It's Nicholas Stockner. Hard contact. Nicholas Stockner. He is against the turn 1 fence, and we may get a caution. We will not. Stockner gets it to the apron, Andrew. Almost the caution, but it didn't happen.
Oh, man, poor A.J. Hobson was hoping for something there, because that would have been perfectly timed for his situation. We got a car stuck on the apron at Molyneux, I believe. Got a little swirly, put 2 wheels on the bottom of the apron there, but he picked it back up again. It's going to be another thing I was considering when I was watching this as well, Murph. I was noticing that with A.J. Hobson's pending pit stop, does everyone get out of the way and go high, or How does that play into the strategy of the deployment and everything like that? Because Hobson does seem to be falling back in the line now, so it may not be that much of a problem, but at some point you have to consider that his car on the bottom line may get in the way of other cars that are trying to take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, he could have made that move intentionally. We were watching the replay of the incident between Molina and Stockner, so we didn't quite see exactly what transpired. But Hobson's got to be within 5 laps of the fuel situation and having to make a pit stop, and so he could have just said, "Look, I'm gonna let Stouffer go so I can get into that bottom line and." And that way I can get to pit lane safely. You've always got to be thinking, 2-3 moves ahead, right? You can't leave that until you're out of fuel and pleading with people to let you down coming down the backstretch when you have got to make that move to pit lane.
And we're getting down to 10 laps to go when we cross this time by Murph. Hobson still hasn't taken his pit stop, so will there be some voodoo magic here that he could find himself on the podium, or is he just hoping still that there's some chance for a caution?
He's got to be hoping for a yellow. That's his only hope here. He's about 5 laps short of being able to make it. And Andrew, I don't even know if a caution came out even with that. If he stayed out, if he'd make it even with the yellow, he's going to have to pit and get some gas. Clinworth battling Stouffer, meanwhile, for the lead. Sam Cosner is up top, following Clinworth. Stouffer, Hobson on the bottom. Wagner and Rose, Lovern, Highsong, and Yingling behind them. Clindy to the high side. Stouffer on the bottom. Both of those machines are good to roll to the end as Hobson is finally going to come to the pit lane. And we get to 8 laps to go here, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm starting to actually notice that top line is becoming a little bit more powerful, especially at the middle to exit of the corner. We got Wagner that's really trying to plant himself right in the middle of this battle. I think Wagner's got a very strong car. If he can find his way up there, that may be the ticket there. But a couple of these cars that are sitting behind this top 3 are actually trying their best to make some crafty moves, but there's just no room for these cars to fit here.
There's not. Now, Chris Stouffer got passed by Kyle Clinworth. There, and I was going to say, what Stouffer needs to do here is he needs to sit in the draft, he needs to recharge the hybrid system, and he needs to start plotting his move now. Clindy would have used his battery to get to the lead, and so now it's on Stouffer, Cosner, Wagner, Lovern, and Rose. They need to get charged up and figure out how to make their way past the 37 of Kyle Clinworth. And look, again, it is easier to get by the leader with the hybrid system, especially if they are empty, right? And the way that Clindy made that move, I would surmise that he has used his electricity to make it. Now, Wagner is going to pop to the outside. He's going to try to lead the high lane. But it kind of stalls out for him, and I don't think he's willing to use up his hybrid either at this point, Andrew. I think now we're going to start playing poker and see who's going to hold him until they're going to show him, and who's going to show what and when as Peterson comes off a pit lane. He had to stop for fuel. He also caught a black flag. That'll drop Eric Peterson back to the 18th spot.
I'm kind of trying to predict about what's going to happen here with 2 laps to go. If someone tries to really, really juice it up and take the lead, or wait till the last lap to do it, because who knows what Clemworth is doing with his hybrid, if he's just very, very methodically and slowly charging it up for a last blast on the last lap. If that's even a thing, I'm not really quite sure what the hybrid strategy would be here on such a flat-footed track, but we're about to find out as we come to 2 laps to go.
Well, you're not going to be able to charge it while you're leading. There's enough mechanical drag that it would be like throwing out a boat anchor as we come to get 2 to go. 3 miles left. Clinworth leading, and there's going to be lap traffic here. Stouffer thought about going to the inside. Jeff Highsong has pulled his machine into the pit lane. Greenlee is going to get out of the way and let the leaders fight it out as we come to get one lap to go. Stouffer is backing this up. He's going to take a huge run at Kyle Clinworth coming down to get the white flag. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. 1.5 miles. Clinworth on the bottom. Stouffer on the top. This is for the win. Area 51 at Kansas. Clinworth will lead it off of turn number 2. Stouffer is going to duck in. He'll get the draft. He is going to get a run on the high side. They're even Steven going into turn number 3. Now, who's got enough battery left to get to the line first? Wagner is going to try to make it 3 wide at the top. He's got a huge run. It's going to be Clinworth, Stouffer, and Wagner in that order.
That actually was very, very strategically placed there. I didn't quite know if Clendy was going to be able to hold that bottom line there around the whole track, but Stouffer really did make a run there at the middle to exit of turn 4. So that was actually quite incredible to see how the strategies play. It's so fun to watch to see what these drivers are trying to plan here.
He does indeed. Kyle Clinworth will ride the bottom to victory. He becomes the second double winner in Area 51 this season after A.J. Hobson. To go with he'll win at Kansas to go with his season opening win at Homestead. How about that?
It's always good to reprove yourself again in the series, especially if it's been a while since you've had a little bit of disheartened moments there. So it's good to see the variety of winners that we have in the series for sure.
It is indeed. Kyle Clinworth is going to be your winner. Chris Stouffer second. Matt Wagner rounds out the podium. Sam Cosner drive his 0-0 to 4th. Ryan Kelly, a steady run. He'll round out the top 5. Gary Lovern is 6th. Kurt Rose, Larry Yingling, Jeff Heisong, and Joseph Morales will round out the top 10. And I gotta say, kudos and my applause, Joseph Morales. Awesome to see him run in the top 10. In 11th, it's Brian Greenlee, A.J. Hobson 12th, Charles Teed 13th, Wayne Campbell 14th, Shane Coker is 15th. James Molyneux, Bill Burrell, Eric Peterson, Craig Forsyth, and Nicholas Stockner round out your top 20. Shotgun on the field. Mason Mitchum at 21st and out of the race. Whew. I don't know about you, Wood, but if you don't like that, I don't know how you can call yourself a motorsport fan. That was fantastic.
That actually might have been the first time in quite a while now that we've gone caution-free in an Area 51 race, and that is so pleasing to see for all the viewers to see what the strategies are to play out, but also gives the drivers an opportunity to flex their green flag pit stop muscle, which easily gets lost once you have all these races that have cautions where you just dip into the pits under the caution and see what happens from there. So it's actually quite exciting to see. I really loved watching how that race panned out, especially because everyone stayed very much close together and no one was really out of it.
Yes, indeed. Let's see what we've got in the way of drivers here in the Discord server. We're going to see. We've got Wagner. We've got Stouffer. And Clindy has joined the quiet room. So we're going to have everybody available to us. We'll start with the third place runner, Matty Wagner. Matty, you've got Murph and you've got Andrew Wood in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Copy.
All right. Well, I tell you what, you made the run to the outside there to come to the line. Had you been saving the battery in order to make that move?
That, and I've been trying to cool my tires off, trying to make a run. Because me running the high side that last stint really burned up the tires, and I really kind of as you would say, I kind of regret it running up there. Uh, I had to save maybe about probably about 4 laps, and that was pretty much it. And I was good to the end. I can go full burn for the rest of the run. It was pretty fun out there.
It was
Yeah,
indeed.
Matt. I was going to ask Matt. Let's talk about what the bottom lane seemed to be the way to go for much of the race. Everyone was kind of hugging the bottom lane and doing that, which is very not traditional for what we see in these pack races.
Right.
Sorry, not for pack races, for these
Kansas.
1.5 mile ovals. Everyone seems to start on the bottom and migrate to the top. So, how much fuel were you able to save on that bottom line? And did you ever think that just migrating to the top, you could just pass the whole field just because everyone was checking up down there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can pretty much pass the whole field using the top line, but I was able to go. Let's see. I was a little bit short. I went 45 laps, but I was kind of sputtering about halfway down the pit lane, and I think that cost me a little bit of time there. So I'd say about 45. I didn't notice if anybody went 46 or anything. I think 45 was the most. I am unsure, but running the bottom line, I really think puts a lot of stress on the tires back down there. I had to kick off the weight checker because that's really, really going to burn up that right rear, and I really didn't want to do that. Fuel saving, I hate fuel saving races. Just to be honest with you, I hate it so much. I wish we could just go full burn, mash it out, turn up the temperature a little bit, and just go at it. But it was a cool track, and that's what you get in these 1.5-mile tracks. You get back racing.
Well, you excelled at it as always. You bring home a podium finish. Maddie, thank you so much for joining us in the booth. As always, friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. The mic is yours.
Shout out to the folks over at Area 51 for hosting this event. Thank you, Craig Forsythe. Shout out to the winners. Stouffer, that was a good. We kind of rubbed wheels a little bit. Shout out to him, and shout out to Clendy for the win. Let's see. Dope Soaps, Horizon Racing League, and I think that's about it.
There you go.
Yeah, take care. Oh yeah, 4D Racewear.
Yeah, I was going to say you gotta read the you got to start doing it like I do it. Just look at the broadcast and read the decals off the side there. See,
I really need to put something on like a post-it note of all my sponsors and stuff that we have for our leagues and stuff. This is getting kind of weird for me getting in the broadcast booth for 3 straight weeks, and that's unheard of. And my luck here at Area 51 has been abysmal. And finally, a good
keep it positive, please. Come on.
Yeah, you kept positive. The other thing is,
I want to hear this.
The other thing is,
negative for DMs.
I will tell you this, Matt. The most embarrassed I've ever been in a broadcast was I was tired. I was literally reading the decals off my car, and Gary, ever the professional, said, Murph, I think you forgot one, and the one I was forgetting was P1 Broadcasting. So,
oh, I shout out to you guys too. By the way.
Yeah,
you guys, that's what I pay you on Wednesday. Come on.
It's true. Well, thank you so much for dropping in. Thank you so much for coming. Keep going fast and having fun, buddy. We'll see you at the next one.
All right, man. See you.
That is Matty Wagner. He runs in third spot, rather. For the second place, man, we turn our attention to the only guy that runs IndyCars that's got more gray hair than I do, Chris Stouffer. Stouffer, you've got Murph and you've got Andrew Wood in the P1 Broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Thanks, Mark.
Hey, I'm always here to help, brother. I'm always here to help. So you had a fun time in the old 40 racewear car tonight. You looked really, really stout at the beginning, and I'm assuming that you spent, much like everybody else, the whole mid-race saving fuel. Did you feel like you had enough to go race at the end, or were you still needing to save a little bit before it came time to go for the trophy.
That's funny you say that. That's exactly what I was thinking about talking about while I was sitting there waiting. Yeah, I came out of the pits. I thought I was going to be good to the end, and then I was up there battling with AJ, and once I got the lead, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be short by about a lap. So I put it the fuel map 3. Clinty got around me. I was able to save enough fuel to battle with him, but wasn't able to pip him at the line.
Yeah, Chris, we usually see you doing these high rim riding races here on these 1.5 mile ovals, and obviously we got a little bit of a cooler track tonight, and everyone was kind of staying low. So, what was the key tonight? Just simply looking at your fuel dash and making sure that the fuel was right, or was there any part of the race where you felt like you could really push, and did it matter if you were sitting in second or 10th or something like that? Talk about what your strategy was, or where you wanted to be, and how much that affected your fuel run.
Well, I early on did the math and figured out, if we can go at least 42 laps, we can make it on fuel, and then end up going longer on that. And I was doing the math in my head while we were racing there, just trying to see if there was a number that I could make at the end without saving. And, I was close to that, but, it was really just sitting there saving fuel. It was pretty uneventful, to tell you the truth, for 3/4 of the race. Just yeah, dial the tools in so I could sit there and follow behind somebody nice and easy, and half throttle, save the fuel that I needed, and just wait to that last stop. And then, of course, like always, just making sure when you get on pit road, you don't speed. Get off pit road clean, and we bunch back up after a pit stop, and just get right back to it.
Well, get back to it. You did. You come up a couple of feet short in this one. I know you'd have liked to had a win, but it is just a couple of feet short for you there, Chris. We do want to congratulate you on yet another podium finish. Don't have the points as yet, but I'm sure that you're going to wind up. I'm sure that you're going to wind up. Well, no, they are up. So you've moved up 5 spots into the top 10 in the points. So congratulations on that. With the middle step of the podium come the spoils. You get the mic. Friends, family, sponsors, shout outs. Go ahead, my man. You've earned it.
Well, I will say I am surprised to be in the top 10. I feel like I've had a pretty bad season all this season. I think this is the highest finish I've had, so I'll take it. But first shout outs, like always, shout out to 4D Racewear. Check out 4dracewear.com. You want to say hi to Danielle, also the kids who should be in bed and asleep by now, but I'm about to go upstairs and find out. So other than that, you guys in the booth, as always, Mark, Andrew, thank you. And Craig putting on the league, everybody associated with it. It's fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Chris. I've got one that pulled out the blankie and the pillow, and he's sleeping next to me. So that's go check on your boys. Tell them I said hello, and keep going fast, having fun, buddy.
You got you. Thank you.
Absolutely. That is Chris Stouffer. He is your second place runner. And for your winner, we will bring in, and for whatever reason, Discord seems to not be wanting to let me drag him. For the winner, we're going to go ahead and bring in Kyle Clinworth. He is your winner tonight. Andrew Wood, take it away.
Yeah, Clendy, what a job there. I was noticing especially that you were kind of hanging off the back of the lap car Bill Burrell there, and I'm wondering if you were just using that as an opportunity to save a little bit extra fuel that you thought you might have needed later on in the race, or was there something that you had planned there to use the lap car to save or do something a little bit different on your strategy?
Yeah, I was just able to save one more lap than the rest of the field. I think Sam Cosner and I were the only ones to do it the first stint. And then the second stint, the one where I was behind Bill, I was the only one to pit on my lap, which let me go to map 1 sooner and light the wick faster and get around Stouffer on the outside. I could tell he was still saving and wasn't quite ready to go. And so I just plopped it down in map 1 and went full rip and got around him. And then once you're on the bottom, you're basically impassable. So, I learned that when it goes to going all out, there are about 2 or 3 guys in the business that are best at it. So Stouffer's one of them, and he just wasn't ready to go all the way out. And another one's my buddy Rick. I know that he's really good at not saving fuel. So I know he's in the chat. So thanks for watching, Rick.
I'm actually I have one more question for you there, Clendy. Was there a certain lap at the race that you felt like it was a full burn lap? Are you watching your fuel map and your fuel gauge in a specific way for the end of the race that you were able to get to the front? Or was it just a matter of, I could sit in this pack and maybe save a few more teaspoons of fuel here, a few more teaspoons of fuel there? Or was there a certain lap you're like, yeah, I'm going right from this point?
Yeah, I'd kind of broken down the equation of how many gallons you needed at each lap in order to go full rip and get to the end. So every lap that AJ was on the bottom, I knew AJ wasn't going to make it. So I didn't really mind if I was behind both AJ and Chris running third, saving until I could get to that lap 1 flip the switch number. I think I maybe faked him out a couple times when we caught up to, I think it was Molyneux and somebody else who were racing up in front of us. And my grand plan was when they were running either high in the straights or on the straightaway, I would draft by both Hobson and Stouffer with those lappers draft, but they ended up collecting one another and we all had to dodge them. And I think I got to second in the chaos. And then that's when I realized Stouffer wasn't able to go flat out, and it just all the cards all the puzzle pieces got put together from there.
All right, Clendy, it was really, really great to watch you race this tonight. I didn't really see where you'd be such a threat falling back from the front row there and going back to 10th place. And, you were able to manage to save enough fuel to go all the way back up to the front again. So that's really, really awesome to see. So let's leave you the mic and you can shout out anyone you want, friends, family, sponsors, anything you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for all you guys do with the channel, Andrew and Mark. P1 Broadcasting's come a long way. It's good to see all the growth, all the activity in chat, all the likes on this video, and all the views we've had recently. It's all been very energizing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my commentary in the fixed race booth earlier tonight. And if you didn't, go back and watch it. I thought I did a pretty good job. Not too bad for a guy who holds a steering wheel all the time. Obviously, thanks to Craig for putting this on, and to the other drivers who I shared the podium with. Chris, I know, is his teammate, and then Matt Wagner, and of course Jim Herrick for sponsoring this series. 4D Racewear is really great. I love their shoes. I have a pair. I wear them, and they help me out a lot on road courses. And then of course my own sponsors, the Votive Racing League, all the Votive Entente drivers who I raced with tonight. So I think it was just all Votive Manufacturing. So Gary, Shane, and Sam and I all ran together tonight and worked the different strategies, right? Shane was like, I don't want to save. So I encouraged him to pit early so that maybe he could break away from the pack and stop letting all the savers just kind of latch onto his coattails. And it almost worked for him if he hadn't sped, excuse me. But beyond that, my cousin runs Segerman Farms, Craig Segerman. My mom watches every race. She's my biggest fan. Sorry, Rick. You'll have to settle for number 2. And of course, at advanced.gg, you can go there to get all sorts of supplements for water drinks. You can get, I think, post-workout, caffeine, focus, and hydration supplements. Go to advanced.gg and check out with my promo code ClendySendy, and you'll get 10% off your order. I think that's basically it, Andrew. So thanks for having me. Murph, thanks for calling the race. I'll catch you guys next week or in a couple weeks next time we're here.
A lot of good shout outs there, Clendy. Thank you so much for showing up tonight, and definitely want to see what you got in store for the next race.
Sounds great. See you guys next time.
That is Kyle Clinworth, tonight's winner. And Andrew, for a fuel-saving race, it still wasn't bad, my man. We still had a lot of action throughout the field. We still had quite a bit of strategy. We had some alternate strategy. I was kind of interested to see if the go fast would pay off for Shane Coker. It didn't in the end, but it was interesting to think about it, wasn't it?
We've been dying. There's such an appetite for these green flag races, and everybody wants to see what they have on their pit stops. And it takes a lot really to stop these cars and get everything going, to make sure that they get in and out of the box as fast as they can and rejoin in such a way that they can still contend for the race win, and Clendy did that to perfection tonight. And there are other cars that definitely had a shot there, and I think that it just shows that all these drivers look after each other, and anyone can win these races. So we saw Gary Lovern really surge there towards the end. He fell back a little bit. Unfortunate that we didn't get to speak to him tonight, but week after week, it shows that in the Area 51 series, we can have any driver surge up to the front and possibly contend for race wins. So we love to see that.
We do indeed. For me, you know, I still semi-competitively run these cars, right? And so do you. To me, it's in a long green flag run race like this, you got green flag stops. That's where you really see the cream rise to the top. These cars can be, at times, I don't want to say easy, but at times, they can all keep up with each other in a pack. But when you have to get on and off a pit road, when you have to hit your marks exactly right, that's when you see the supremely talented come to the front, and that's what we saw tonight from Clinworth, Stouffer, and Wagner. I was most impressed with the effort from Sam Cosner, because that's a name that we don't see a lot in these races. Sam Cosner was able to come to the front, and he was able to stay there. He had a crack at the win at the end, and have to underline the efforts from Gary Lovern, Kurt Rose, and Joseph Morales. Those are names that you don't see every day in the top 10 in a lot of the series they run. But those guys are always here. They're always supporting Area 51, other series as well. They're on the track, and they're competing. They're giving their best effort, and they're getting better. They're still learning. And my final thought goes to Shane Coker, because my goodness, he decided he was gonna ignore the torpedoes, head for the front, stay there. He was gonna run his race. If it panned out, he was gonna win the thing, and if it didn't, well, he led a lot of laps and he got on TV a lot, right? So Shane Coker, one yellow falls and Shane Coker wins the race tonight, and you've got to feel for him too. But good for him for making the effort. For future broadcasts, Area 51 is off for a couple of weeks. Next week is week 13. They are taking St. Patrick's Day off as well. Next race is going to be from the Daytona road course. We're going to get a twisty, Andrew. That's going to be on March 24th. On P1, tomorrow night, we've got another twin bill. It is a special presentation of the iRacing IndyCar Series presented by 4D Racewear. That is at 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. They're going to share with the Formula Super Series. They're going to be at the Watkins Glen Cup course at 8:20. On Thursday night, it's the Outland Custom Arms Grand National Series 8:20 pre-race, 8:35 start. They're going to be at Phoenix as well. No race Friday, the trucks are off. On no race Saturday, because the real-life IndyCar race is on Saturday. We don't want to trip over that. Sunday, it's going to be the votive Indy Oval Series from Milwaukee at 8 o'clock. Do want to point out to everybody that next week, beginning Monday night, so a week from yesterday, there will be no official race Monday or Tuesday, because it is week 13, Andrew. You going to run any of the fun stuff?
We'll have to see what's out there, and maybe I can show up for something. We'll have to check out what is in store there.
I want to see him do GTP cars on super speedways. Those are always fun. With that said, we do want to thank everybody out there for tuning in. You guys make the broadcast what it is, all the engagement and chat. Keep that up. Do want to thank all the drivers on the track for doing what they do. Another awesome show tonight. Want to thank my broadcast partner, Andrew Wood. It's always fun to spend time with you, Andrew. But most of all, we want to thank the people that really make it possible. The military, the police, the firemen, the EMTs driving the ambulance. And Andrew, you're a race driver. The nurse that unloads you when they get you there. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you all. Have a great night, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow night for IIS and Formula Super Series. Good night, everybody.
Strap in, feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hat pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 4D on my skin, when I lose, when I win, I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 4D, 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 it's different. Yeah, that's winning. Grit in my voice, baseline under my breath. Glove print stamped on the wheel like a crest. I don't just play, I live it. Every stitch says, get it. From the couch to the